Scorpio, welcome to your monthly horoscope for March 2026. My name's Adeana. I'm an intuitive astrologer. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. Let's get into the month ahead. So, I break the monthly horoscopes down by week and I select a chart for each week to give you a bit of a visual. So, Scorpio, coming into the month, we've got Mercury retrograde and Pisces. You've got Pisces in your fifth house of children, creativity, passion, romance, hobbies, interests. So, this area of life is being lit up, and there's also a lot that you're reevaluating here with this Mercury retrograde. Now, on the second, Mars is going to enter Pisces, bringing more focus to that fifth house of children. Mars rules anger, aggression, conflict. Mars also severs and separates. So it is an energy to just be a bit mindful of, especially if you're trying to navigate anything around children or creative projects, creative ventures. And truly, that fifth house is anything you enjoy doing, anything that lights you up. So yeah, it's just an energy to be a bit mindful of with Mars there. This could show up because Mars is your co-ruler. So this could show up as like a lot of motivation to get things going and move forward with something, but it could also bring again conflict. And it all depends on your natal chart. On the third, we've got the total lunar eclipse in Virgo at 12 degrees, which is in your 11th house of friendships and social circles. And so, what have you been navigating around? Friendships and social circles for the last year. There's more to that story coming in. That South Node represents karmic comfort zones. This is something you're releasing, you're letting go of. This could have maybe brought friendships back from the past or people back from the past. But there's something being highlighted here that is going to highlight something that you're done with, something you're moving away from. And again, it could be something you've already been navigating for a year. Because with these nodes, usually, from what I've noticed with my own personal observation, is when we're dealing with the nodes and the eclipses, there's like a 2 year story playing out. And every time we get an eclipse, there's another chapter to that story. There's more change to kind of what we've already been navigating. Now, on the 5th, we're going to have the sun forming a trine to Jupiter. So the sun is going to be in Pisces, forming a trine to Jupiter, and Jupiter is still going to be retrograde at this point. So there could be like something really shifting here emotionally or intuitively with this energy, which I like. This could be some really powerful insight around something you're navigating. This could be great for creativity and creative projects. On the 6th, we've got Venus entering Aries. And so we will start to have some of the energy shift into Aries, which is your sixth house of work, health, and daily routine. So maybe now you're starting to focus more on your health, your nutrition habits. Also, coworkers and employees are in the sixth house and pets. And so those themes and topics are all kind of up for change, especially with Saturn and Neptune here now. But with Venus in the sixth house, and also too, because Venus enters Aries on the sixth, on the seventh, Venus is going to form a conjunction to Neptune and then connect to Saturn on the eighth. So Venus enters Aries, and already there could be like instantly some confusion or a stop or a block or a hold to something that you're trying to move through, like move into. So Venus rules your seventh house of relationships. So it could show up within partnership, like maybe there's something confusing around a partner, there's something you're not seeing clearly, or it could be, romance. Again, it depends on your own personal birth chart. And then Saturn could be forming a committed partnership, or it could be like a stop to something, or a block to something, or something that's just not moving as quick as you'd like around relationships. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, too, on the 7th, when we have the Venus conjunction to Neptune, we're going to have the Mercury Cazimi. And this is where there could be really powerful insight coming in. So, you definitely want to pay attention on the 7th, what is showing up for you around intuitive downloads, important conversations, important thoughts, like any thoughts you're having that kind of stick out, like epiphanies. This is one of those days to just kind of journal, jot things down. Then we get into the second week of March, and on the 9th, we've got Mercury retrograde forming a trine to Jupiter retrograde. Now, the first time Mercury trined to Jupiter retrograde was February 16th. So, what showed up around February 16th? Because that's going to give you an idea of what you could be revisiting on the 9th. On the 10th, we've got Jupiter stationing direct, which is going to be nice because when Jupiter is at a standstill, we tend to lose hope or feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel because Jupiter rules our optimism and our hope. So it's going to be nice to finally have Jupiter direct again. And so on the 10th, Jupiter stations direct. And then on the 13th, Mars is going to form a conjunction to the North Node. This is where we really have this powerful urge to move forward with something. However, we're still dealing with this like lack of clarity. So just be careful with whatever it is you're trying to move forward with or implement around the 13th. And then on the 15th, we've got Mercury retrograde, then conjunct Mars. So, yeah, there's like a lack of clarity here, lack of direction. There's something not seen clearly, or maybe something you're sitting with, you're reevaluating, but you're wanting to move forward with something. There's like a reflection period going on, but also this internal need and desire to like move forward with something in a sense. Third week of March and on the 17th, we're going to have Mercury form a conjunction to that North Node. So we had Mercury form a conjunction to the North Node on February 12th, but Mercury actually had just entered pre-shadow. So what showed up around February 12th? That could give you an idea of what you'll be revisiting here around the 17th. But this is also a day, pay attention to your intuition, your gut feelings, your intuitive downloads, your important thoughts and conversations, and all of those mercurial things, because this is another one of those days or something could be showing up and also could seem insignificant in the moment, but can kind of, you'll learn down the road that it was like an epiphany or something. It was your intuition telling you something. And then on the 18th, we've got the new moon in Pisces at 28 degrees. And so this is not going to be an eclipse, but it's still going to hold the energy of an eclipse. And it's still going to bring in some new seeded change for the change taking place in the Virgo Pisces axis that you've been navigating over the last year. So, yeah, I love this. I will post a separate forecast going deeper into this energy. Oh, and also, if you want to dive deeper into the lunar eclipse and Virgo forecast that we're having on the 3rd, I have a forecast on my channel going over that energy as well and the chart for the lunar eclipse. So you could definitely check that out. But this new moon is forming a sextile to Uranus, which is in your 7th house of relationships, which is bringing in this opportunity for breakthroughs, which I love. I do love this, Scorpio. So, yeah, there's something new being seeded here around children, creative projects, hobbies, interests, and breakthroughs, like being able to do something new, do something different outside of the box. Now, also on the 18th, we're going to have Venus square Jupiter. And so Venus is going to be in Aries, squaring Jupiter, which is now direct in Cancer in your 9th house. So your 9th house rules higher education, higher knowledge, long distance travel, your belief systems, religious beliefs, philosophical beliefs, astrology. This is like overindulgent energy. I would just say, just be careful you don't go too much. So, for example, this is in your Venus in your, this could be like working out way too hard, way too much, and you pull something or you overdo it, overexert yourself. Like this is too much of something, right? When we've got this square between Venus and Jupiter. So just be a bit cautious. Now, Venus is also the ruler of your 7th house. So it could have to do with relationships and maybe doing something too much or going in too quick or whatever the case is, apply to your life. You're going to know how this aligns with you. But this is just too much of a good thing, too much of a bad thing, too much of something, right? So just be a bit cautious. Then on the 20th, we start Aries season and Mercury is going to station direct. So the sun is going to move into your 6th house, bringing more focus to your daily routine and your nutrition habits and health, and Mercury is going to station direct. And so on the 20th, this is a day, again, we want to pay attention what is showing up around intuitive downloads, epiphanies, thoughts, all that stuff, because this is another one of those days, especially too, because Mercury is pretty much stationing on top of that North Node. Then on the 21st, Mars is going to form a trine to Jupiter. So Mars is going to be here in your 5th house, forming a trine to Jupiter. And this could this is a water trine. So this is emotions, intuition. This could be like something clicking emotionally. This could be great for creative projects, actually. I would even say pregnancy. And I know it sounds funny, but like it's in the 5th house of like sex and like Jupiter. I mean, it definitely could be a thing, especially too, because Jupiter rules that 5th house. So just be careful if you don't want to get pregnant. or if you don't want to have babies, make sure you're using protection. This is literally one of those days. I know it sounds funny, but it's literally one of those days. So just be cautious, okay? Just be cautious. The 21st of March, wrap it up. I'm just joking. Okay. And then on the 22nd, we've got the sun forming a conjunction to Neptune. So the analogy I was using of the sun conjunct Neptune is like the sun does great in Aries, right? So the sun's in Aries and it's confident. It's like somebody walking into a room, they've prepared, they're walking in with confidence, and then they realize that this convention or the people here or whatever they thought this was is completely different. And all of a sudden, their confidence just goes out the window and they're just completely confused. That is like the sun in Aries conjunct Neptune. It's like it's got this confidence, it's ready to move forward, ready to do the thing. But then there's Neptune, which is then kind of rips this like thing off as like, no, it's confused. You're confused. Like you now know nothing about what you were just walking into. So that's been the analogy I've been using with this sun conjunct Neptune and Aries. But this Neptune and Aries energy is something new, right? Like I do have a forecast on my channel going into the past events of Neptune and Aries and Saturn and Aries, but this is a new world. This is a different world. So we're trying to figure out how this is going to show up for all of us in our own world. So I would love to hear in the comments below how you've been navigating the Neptune Saturn transit through Aries. Then, once we get to this fourth week of the month on the 25th, we're going to have the sun form a conjunction to Saturn. And the sun's also going to form a sextile to Pluto. And then on the 28th, Saturn's going to form a sextile to Pluto. So the sextile to Pluto does bring in this opportunity for transformation of some kind because it's in the fourth house of home and family. Maybe it's doing something different within the home. Um, the sun also rules your 10th house of career and public reputation. So there could also be too something around your career showing up here as well. Actually, yeah, too, Scorpio, when the sun enters Aries and we have the conjunction of Saturn Neptune, there could be something around your career showing up with that as well. Like maybe there's a new position within the career, but there's like there could either be some confusion around your job or career, or there's like more responsibility coming in, or there's a position that has more responsibility, but you're not sure if you're going to be able to tackle it, like something along those lines. And then on the 30th, we've got Venus entering Taurus. So Venus is going to enter your seventh house of relationships come the end of the month. And once we get into April, the energy starts to shift. However, then we've got Uranus entering Gemini, and it's a whole other can of worms. So don't wait for the astrology to be good. We have to learn how to utilize the astrology that we have. That's the most important thing. So yes, Scorpio, I hope this helps you navigate the energy for the month ahead. Yes, we are in intense times and we are definitely in time of change and transformation. So, watching these horoscopes, getting an idea of the energy that we're walking into is definitely going to help us navigate the energy, but we can't just sit and wait for things to be good. Yes, there is, more better times to implement things or launch things, but on a daily basis, we want to know the energy that we're navigating, right? So hopefully you find this helpful and useful. If you do, subscribe and like this video, and I'll connect with you in the next one.